In this video, I draw up a slaver's stronghold. Someone posted a question on Reddit, and it says, I need some help mapping a slaver's stronghold. And I thought this would be an interesting little exercise to see how I'd go about building out the slaver's stronghold. So the first thing we're going to need to do is, if we read through this, we've got 17, but we need 17 bandits. So we need 17 NPCs. They're going to be bandits according to, if we're doing 5th edition, they would be 5th edition bandits, which are in the monster manual. But we kind of want to have a bit more information about them. So I'm going to pull up PowerShell, and this, I did a previous video on how to use PowerShell to create an NPC. And so I'm going to issue a, shall we say, a magic command, which is a for loop, for $i equal 1. And it's $i is less than or equal to 17. We need 17. We're going to iterate from 1 to 17. $i plus plus paren. And what we're calling is, we're calling the script that I wrote for generating NPC .ps1. So this is the script. So this is going to generate 17 NPCs if I did this syntax correctly. And there we go. It generates them one right after another. Now, so that was relatively easy. What we need now is I'm going to take that text and put that into my favorite text editor, and because we're eventually going to put it into Word, but I want to come in and take this. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up, and in PowerShell you could just grab and highlight and scroll down. Okay, come back up here. It's okay, whatever. So that copied that to the copy buffer. And if I bring a text editor over and I paste it, and that pasted all of the stuff. So one of the things I just want to, because we could have added something to the PowerShell script to do that, but I'm just going to do I'm going to do a magic incantation or whatever. This will, let's see, so I've got name colon, which would be there, and I want to just insert, you can't see this, it's off the bottom of the screen, name colon with, so I just basically put some extra carriage returns, and so this will generate all my NPCs that I could possibly need. This is all 17, and it's already named them. It's obviously would probably go through and put them. So I created a Word document, which will be where we'll put our NPCs. So we put all our NPCs in here, and the downside to all of this is, if we really want, what we really want to do is we want to go Control A, and we don't want any spacing. Except that's not quite true. We want this one to be, no, Control Z. We want this line here to be normal, And we could do the same thing. We got blank lines for now, so we could see all of our NPCs, and we've got um, some. We've got those generated. So we're we're going to um, just save our NPC file. So that was the first thing we're going to do. So let's name this. Well, yeah, this is the NPCs. NPCs. So now we've got the NPCs. So that we'll be doing some more work on that before we actually played this, but that's close enough for now. And now let's think about drawing up some sort of map. So we've got the NPCs. We can come back to them later. We'll get out of our text editor. We don't need, well, we'll save the file as a text file, but then we'll be out of there. So we don't need that. This is our PowerShell. We're done with PowerShell for now. This gets back to the original description. And I like the fact that he thought out about parts of this, but let's see, we've got a building B, which is a cell block, and then the main building A, he's got a mess hall, and then he's got quarters, and then he's got the leader and treasurer's room. This is in part of building A. So we've got a large building. And this is where I think I'm going to diverge a bit from what he was thinking. I think we want, rather than building B being underground, I think this is just one large building, because this would probably be better, because we're going to need a forge, a kennel, a stable. Those are there. And he also said that we've got guys walking guard duty or whatever. So you've got sentries. So man the walls and watch posts. We're going to need watch posts. So let's, I'm going to bring up campaign cartographer, which will here. We'll start from scratch so you can see what I'm doing. We'll do a new map, and we're going to pick a city, and we're going to use one of the predefined templates. And the predefined template is this 500 foot by 400 foot village, because this is a nice size for what we're looking for here. So let's first off, let's save this, and we're going to we're going to put this up with my insane file storage mechanism. So this is the Stronghold. So we've got a nice map. The first thing we need to do is that I think the grid, we need to create a better grid than this. So I'm going to first off create a rectangular grid, and we're going to name it. It's a 5-foot grid, 5 snap, and it's 5. And we're making a square grid and 5. What happens is it means we're going to have dots every 5 feet, but it also will snap to basically 1 foot increments. So there we go. So we've created that. So we want to snap to the 5-foot grid. So we're okay. Now we see that maybe you can see this on this. We'll see how the resolution will show up. But the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these layers here so I can see them a bit better. Maybe you can see the grid in there a little bit better. So let's zoom in a little bit. And it's probably going to be hard to see, but now we click back over to the description. And how big is this first building going to be? So we've got the quarters for 16 men is on the second floor, and we get a mess hall. So when I did some calculations, and you can see some of mine here, so the mess hall, I was a little bit wrong because I was thinking about this. We needed at least 50. It's got to be at least 20 feet wide, and if we're going to do the bunk beds, so what happens is, so we're going to say it's 40 feet long by 21 feet. That's the minimum. So let's make this, we'll make it a little bit larger. Give us some extra room. Let's go 50 feet by 25 feet. So that's what we're going to make. Our main building is 50 feet by 25 feet. So what kind of, that's a single building. We're just going to pick, say, it's a thatch building. Let's see, thatch, wooden with no frills. Just a plain old wooden building with no frills. And we're going to insert this here. Now, we can come up here. So we're going to make it 50 feet. If we click, notice in the upper right-hand corner way up here, it's actually giving us our deltas. So that makes it a little bit easier. We can go out, there we go, 50 feet. And then we can stretch out, and we're down, 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 25 feet. So that gives us our main building. That's our 50 feet by 25 feet, 25-foot building that we're going to have for the main building. So now we have the main building. Let's click back over to the description. Well, I'm going to put the kitchen in the main building, and what happens is we're going to put, I don't think that should be a separate building. Let's put the kitchen, the pantry, and the storage. Plus we've got a cell block, which we'll put in the basement. So now we've got the first floor, second floor, and third floor. We're going to need a forge, some kennels, and a stable. So the forge, I think the forge would be 10 by 15 foot. That's just we're just going to use that for another building. And the kennels, let's make the kennels, make 5 kennels per side. That would be individual kennels. That is kind of large. So we could make the, let's see, kennels. We could make a if we make 5 foot by 5 foot pens, which we could put 2 wolves in. So we could do maybe a 15 foot. Actually, so if we have 5, if we make them 5 foot wide, and we have 5, and we see, well, we put two wolves in each, so we need 5 pens. So if we make 5 pens, and they're so it's 25 feet long by 15 feet, but we could make it 25 by 10. So that would give us plenty. That'd be actually a fairly large kennel, but that's okay. We'll do. Let's come back over here, and we'll do another wooden no frills. Insert, and the kennel we'll put a little farther away from here. So now then, let's make it, that's 25 feet by 10 over here. So that gives us our kennel. So now we've got our main building, we've got our kennel. We need to put a forge into here. So let's put we want the kennel distance away, the kennel, and we're going to put the kennel, and we've got to build also, if we take a look at the guy said we need a stable. So that's 30 by 25. So we'll put the stable over here. So the stable is a distance away from the kennel. it's a little bit larger building because horses are bigger than dogs, and that will give us our stable. Now, the last thing we really need, so we've got a kennel, a forge, is our forge. So we can put our forge over here, which is a sort. You wouldn't want your forge, your kennel and your stable smell, so you really wouldn't want them being around too much, too close to the where you're living. And your forge is going to put out a bit of smoke too. So, but you'll put it down here. So we'll make our forge. We're going to make it 15 feet. We're going to make it just 15 feet by 15 feet. So there's our forge. So now we've got the three. Those are the three buildings. One of the things we are going to need, if we're doing anything realistic, is we're going to need a little outer building, as they were called. And that's a small little building here. That's our outhouse. All right. But this gives us the dimensions of the main compound. So now we have the main compound drawn up. The thing we also need to do is we need to put a couple of guard towers, and we need to put a wall around this. So let's zoom in a little bit. So let's assume we're going to put a nice square set of walls around here. Let's make same thing. We're going to do the same thing with we're going to do our no frills wooden house. We're going to insert 4 of them. These are our guard towers. That one's there, and we're going to put one here. And then we're going to put one down here. And we've got one more to draw, which would be right here. So now we've got our 4 guard towers. The next thing we want is we need to draw some sort of wall. So we need to come up with, we can go here, and we don't have actually a wall of this type. So we got to create our new tool. And actually, I did create this already. Oh, it's properties. Let's change its properties. So this was based upon the standard 5-foot wall, and we're going to make this one. This wall is only 1 foot thick, and it's going to be of wood bitmap. So that one's there. So we have this nice wall, and we'll. So that fits there. So now then, we can say OK. Save settings, yes. So we're ready to draw our wall. And we're going to put our wall just outside. That's why we really want to be 1 foot outside the actual buildings. And let's see if I can do this. So that gives us our wall. That's our compound. And if we turn show all, we've got our compound. There's our outer wall that's built around that to keep and we've got guard towers and so on. So this is basically the compound for our slaver stronghold that we've needed to draw up. So let's save this. Now that we've got the completed compound, we could start labeling things. But the real interesting, if we take a look at this, is from the original description. This is where we're going to vary on it. We had a basement, which has got the cells. We've got a first floor mess hall. We've got a second floor, which is quarters, and the third floor is the treasury and the leader's room. So we've got 3 floors above ground and 1 floor below ground. And if I put the mess hall and I put the kitchen and the pantry in with the same floor as the mess hall, so because that makes more sense to put them right there together. So if we come back over here, so we need 3 floors above and 1 floor and down. So one of the things we have is that we have this nice little macro called floor plan. And you come over and we pick this here. And so we say do it. So the title of this is going to be the Slavers main building. And we know we got three floors above ground and 1 floor below ground. And I always like to have, I'm not going to do a scale bar because I tend to put just a grid over the top of it so people can see what's there. So now we have, we just say, okay. So that creates the hypertext link. So maybe you can see the little purple around this, sorry. So if I click here, and this takes me, and it always does the strange things like that. So this gives me the first floor of the building, and I can, from here, we have the first floor. We can do the same thing here, which would be the second floor, and then we have the third floor. And we also have, we can go back to the first floor, or we can go to the basement. And the basement is here. So now, the basement is probably one of the more interesting ones, since this is more of a dungeon. As we see if I can quickly find this. Let's get back to what the description was. So we've got a cell block must hold at least 10 people. So info distance. Okay. Let's turn snap off. What's our grid? Oh, let's see, it didn't. 1 foot grid. Let's see. 5 foot grid, 1 snap. Snap. Okay. So we've got our distance is 50 feet. So it is 50 feet. So let's see if this is what would be called a trap. Actually, it's useful to see, and we've got the different features. I think there's the trap. We want to change our catalogs. So if no, okay, I always have, for whatever reason, this is one of the things that I want to go DD3. And I'm going to say, let's go down into our traps. So we have this nice cage. So the cage, if we just come in and drop a cage, let's first off unclick snap. So we could say we could drop a cage here. The problem with the default cage size, info distance with the default cage, is the default cage is actually 10 feet. They're 10 feet by 10 feet, which is kind of large. And but actually the part about this is that we could actually do with this is large enough that we can make 10 foot by 10 foot cages just by using the standard cages here, dropping them along here. So we could drop our cages without scaling. So this would be, and the 10 foot by 10 foot cage is plenty large enough to hold, you know, you could easily put 3 prisoners in each of the cages. So those are nice cage sizes without even changing the scaling. And if we want to, we need a staircase going up. So from here, and we're going, this is one where I do want to make independent X and Y. So my Y is 0.5. So actually, I think I'm just going to change the independent. The thing that I always run into is I think the staircases are a little bit wide and long. So I'm going to put a, so here's our staircase going up, and if we put this one right in the sort, well, let's see, we can, this one we can snap to. Maybe not. What is our snap set to? 5 foot snap. 5 foot grid, 1 snap. Oh, that's 1 snap. Oh, that's why. It's only got 1 snap. So we're going to need a 5 foot, we do need a 5 foot, 5 foot, 5 foot grid, 5 snap. 5 square. So we have 5 foot grid, 5 snap. So then we go, okay, so now then when we come over here, we can put the, and this is one of the things where it gets a little, it's a little off, but that's, there we do that, and then we're finished. So finished, and let's turn off snap, edit, and we'll do a quick move to just move this staircase up against the wall. There. So now we're finished with this. We're finished with this layer here. So we redraw this one. So that's the basement. So we actually have, you know, the person will come down the stairs. We've got a storage space over here, which we could actually put some things over there, which sort of makes sense because we would want, we would probably want at least we'd want a normal sized barrel. That would be a logical thing to put over here because we need to get water to these people. So you know, or they're gonna die. So now we've got a 5 foot walkway between there. So that gives us a nice basement. So let's save the basement. So now that we have the basement finished, let's focus on the first floor. So we come back, we go up to first floor. Now we're going to need to put, first thing we need to do is we need to put the staircase going down to match up with the one that that we just placed coming up. But actually, the interesting question is we can say that let's do a staircase going up, because we can have the staircases, basically stack. That there is a staircase going up and a staircase going down in the same space, because it's just the staircases, because we've got, this is a 3-story built, well, there's a basement plus 3 stories above ground, so we need we need our 5-foot grid, 5 snap, so we need 5 of these, and it's a 5-foot grid. Okay, so now then we come over here and we will put our same thing, approximately same place. Well, actually, the interesting thing we can do, let's finish this. What happens is that this is one of the, if we stack, we can do this. We can do edit, copy, and pick the staircase, do it, and our copy coordinate is 0, 0. So it's copied to the clipboard. Now then I can go to the first floor, and I can do edit, and I can do paste, and I can just do 0, 0, and it will paste it there. And so we save that, and then we go to the second floor, and we go edit, paste, 0, 0, and we've got on the second floor, we save that. Now the third floor, we can do that, and we can do edit, paste, 0, 0, and that gives us the location. But the third floor, actually, the staircase is just going to go down, because it's not going up from the third floor. There isn't anything above that, so we actually do need to change that to a staircase going down. So we do 0.5. We meant staircase going down. So that's the staircase going down, and we want it to go this way. So, and we got to see if what kind of grid did it. See, the grid is actually stored with the map. So we're going to do a 5 rectangular grid. So we do 5-foot grid, 5 snap. Okay. And okay, so that's the grid, but we actually don't want to snap for this. So I'm going to turn off the snap. Okay, and I'm going to place this one right here. So it overlaps a little bit, but then I'm going to get rid of the other one, which was right. Well, let's zoom in so we can get things correct. So we pick this one, do it. So that one's gone. And now we do quick, and we do the quick move, and we pick this one up, and we move it into the space where the other one was, and we're finished. So that gives us the staircase going down. So getting back to the first floor. Now the first floor, the other thing we have to do is we have to think, where are we putting the doors to the first floor? We've got doors, we've got windows. This is a building, and we've got in here we've got a mess hall, and we got to put together a kitchen. So the logically going down the basement, we sort of want the kitchen back in the kitchen and the pantry back in this area here, and we want the mess hall and such in the front part of this. And so let's take a look at putting some doors. Now, this supposedly the description was that this was relatively shoddily built, but we're going to say, oh, let's put to the mess hall. I would put large reinforced doors, simply because it makes sense to put a large reinforced doors, say about here. So we got doors here to the mess hall so that people can get into the mess hall. And then I'm going to need some single reinforced doors to come back in. If this is where our cancel finished. So let's see, what is our grid? 5-foot grid, 5 snap. Okay, we misspelled it. Cancel. But we need to pick our reinforced door here, and we'll put a door here. So we've got 2 main doors to this this mess hall. Let's take a look at putting a wall in, because we do need to. This is we'll say this is our default wall, because this part here is going to be the mess hall, and then this part here is going to be the kitchen and the pantry. So we'll just put a wall here. So that gives us a nice wall. And between for serving, I think we need a set of double doors to get into the kitchen and the pantry. So the idea would be is this area over here would obviously be a nice pantry. So actually what we can do is this is the normal furniture that we have in here. Actually, let's take a look at, this is our table settings. How does that fit? That table setting is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 14. So we have plenty of room with this, putting in a single large dining room table. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 14, 16. So we'll assume that it was 16, and then one of the leaders will, that we could just using the standard thing that we actually will seat 16. We'll put the main one here, and we can come back over. Do they have another one that's already set up with? No, that we could do it, but it would, but that'll be fine. But so that we'll assume that that's there, and we can then start putting. Obviously, we would put other kinds of things along the back for where would you keep your dishware and so on. So we can put some cupboards here. So those would be the cupboards for the dining service or whatever. That this would be our sort of our pantry space here for the kitchen. And if we come back, let's see, in the furniture, they normally have a nice little stove. So we'll pick a nice gray stove here, and we're going to put our stove. Now for a group this large, we're probably going to need a couple of stoves. So, well, we can put one. So, positions of the didn't think too well, but that's close enough. We can put the stove there, and we can put a stove here. Sort of an extension to the stove. So we've got an L-shaped stove here. That is basically where they would do the cooking. We would have a bunch of pantry items there. So that gives sort of the pantry, the cooking. Now we would also need a few windows, so let's go taking a look at what kind of windows. Um, let's just do standard windows. So what happens is that this one we do want the snap. Yeah, okay. So we're going to put a window here and here and here. It's always useful to have a window just above the stove, and put a window. Not sure why it doesn't snap on that wall, but we'll put window there and there and there. And for some reason it's not snapping. Actually, I wonder if I turn snap off, will it? There we go. We can put a window here and put a window here and a window here. So that gives us some nice window space. So we've drawn up the first floor. The second floor from the description is really simple. It's and that's what we'll take a look at next. Okay, so we go to come back over here. Go to the second floor. Oh yeah, we want to save that. Make sure it's saved. So the second floor, by definition, is just going to be a bunch of, we're going to have bunk beds and such. So the furniture, okay. Furniture's rather, why doesn't it, dungeon designer, furniture, okay. Yeah, for some reason it didn't go to the right symbol catalog. Let's get to our furniture. Okay, so we're going to put standard. What we need to see to have bunk beds for 16 people approximately. So if we put, and we can simulate a bunk bed by just putting two beds stacked like this. So it's finished. So that gives us a nice bunk bed. And now then what we can do is we can edit, copy. Well, yeah, we can copy the okay. Do it. And we're going to say we're going to put the corner right here. Oh well. Well, that's one option, is to copy it. The other option is just to go through. So now we need 8 sets of bunk beds to fit 16 people. So we can put our bunk beds like here and here, and here and here. And then we need to do the same thing on the other side. Let's see. So let's come back over here, pick that again. So we want this one a little bit farther from the wall, and this one a little bit closer. That's right. Now, that gives us room for 16 people. So now then we just need to, each person would obviously have, let me get back over here, containers. So we're going to need some, each one would have, shall we say, a footlocker. And we don't really have, quote, a footlocker, but we can do one of these. And actually, if we make one independent X and Y. So the X, let's make the X about 2. No, let's do, sorry, do that again. So that one's 2 more. No, wrong one. 1.5. So the Y is, that gives us, that's a little bit too much there. 1.25 more. So that gives us sort of our foot lockers that we put at the end of each bed. So every man's got some sort of, he would have to, well, this would be we could put the foot lockers here. So that gives us room, sort of like military barracks, where you get your foot locker where you keep things. And so that gives the foot lockers, and you'd have to share a foot locker between the two guys or whatever. We do have some now. We can finish this, and we can go. What we want now is we need, oh, so why are you doing that? Get back here. And come back to, there was some reason. Sometimes I get a little bit lost with Campaign Cartographer, figuring out why it pulls a different catalog up sometimes. So anyway, we can now start putting some windows. Let's make this a little bit more livable space. Here, put a window here, and we can put a window here and here. So that gives us our second floor. So we've drawn the first floor and we've drawn the second floor. So let's see what happens. So the last thing we have to do is the third floor, which we know has got some sort of treasury. Actually, I would think we would have some sort of armory also in here. So if we come back over here, so we're on the so we want to save this. So now we're on the third floor, and the last thing, this is where we would have our leader's room and some sort of treasury. So let's make sure we've got our 5-foot grid 5 snap. This one, yeah. So we've got our 5-foot grid 5 snap. Okay. And let's come back into the wall. So this is an upper wall. So we're going to say the staircase comes up, this is the landing. So we're going to put how big, if we decide to how much room does the leader really need, and how much does he and such. So let's see what we can do. First off, we can put a wall here. This sort of makes sense for we have a nice wall there, which would fit there. This means that this space here could be some sort of storage spot for our leader. What grid are we on? 5-foot. Okay, cancel. So doesn't quite match up, but close enough. And then now we have a from here we'd come down to about here, and we'll just go up to there, and that gives us a nice little hallway. Now actually let's finish this to here. So now we've got a nice large room here and a nice large room here, and we've got a storage space here. So this would, so if we made this would be the officer's room, or the leader's room, or however we want. We could populate that, and this here would be our treasury slash armory or whatever we wanted to do there. If we wanted to come to our doors, so let's get to our symbols, dungeons, DD3, wall features. So if we said, okay, so we want a door here, and we want a door. Actually, we want a door there. And then there is a door into here. So now then, I'm not going to populate this, but this gives you an idea what we've done with all of this. So we could then put whatever we wanted to in and specify these, fill out these rooms here. We can go back to our main map. And anyway, and take a look at that, and not sure what happened with our main map. I'll have to take a look at that. But that was interesting. So we'll see what happened. Oh, let's see. No. Okay. The file. Open. Where did it put these? Oh, Stronghold. So what happened was yeah, this was some of the fun. Why did it do this? It put it in the wrong place. So it broke the hypertext links. But that would be that's, you're seeing some of my frustration with Campaign Cartographer. But this gets us back to our main map. So this gives us, so I've drawn up the main map. We did use the floor plan to create the other layers, and now we could do the same thing. We could do the same thing with all the other things. We could put like a staircase up. These would be elevated. We could put those in there, but this would give you an idea of how we could draw all of it with Campaign Cartographer. We've got our NPCs created, so we could do that. The next step, obviously, that we'd want to do is, let's make sure we save this, and then we can come in and turn on sheet effects, and let's see what happens when sheet effects gets turned on. Sometimes this takes a little while to render. Supposedly with Campaign Cartographer 3+, that some of this is faster, but I've had some difficulties with Campaign Cartographer 3+. So we'll see. I will put some links to some of the files that I've got from this so that you can take a look. So there we see the walls. We've got the buildings with a little bit of shading. We'd obviously want to turn off the purple for this before we actually save this. So I'd really want to go into the hyperlink. Let's see, hyperlinks, and hide the hyperlinks. So this would, and then let it re-render. And this gives me this gives me a quick map. The one thing I do need to decide is how I would draw a gate, because right now there's no entrance into here. And do we need to think if there's some sort of water supply in this, which is the other thing. But this gives us some core ideas of how to draw up this thing, how to draw this up. We have our initial designs for all our NPCs. We can go through and figure out what one's the leader, update any stats we've got. But this was how I would start to create this Stronghold. If you like my video, press the thumbs up button. I'd appreciate that. Or if this interests you, you can always subscribe to my channel. There's a button right above. I look forward to hearing some comments. Tell me what you think about this, and I'll try and reply, and we can see if I'll do some more of these. Thank you.